My speech is about the tongues of flame, the coalescence of tongues of flame. What does that mean? If you go back to the 13th century, imagine who you would be in that period. Would you be a soldier? Would you be a priest? Would you be a butcher? Would you be a carpenter? Who would you be? There was a Hungarian monk, actually he was a priest in one of the largest cities, in Esztergom, and he decided one day to become a hermit, and he went into the woods. After the Mongolian invasion, when he helped many people suffering from illness, suffering from the causes of depression, he started helping and curing them. And after that he realized that he needed to do something else, and he went into the woods and became a hermit. He is blessed Eusebius in the 13th century. One day he had a vision. He saw many little sparks of light coming from the distance, joining into one large single beam of light. And he interpreted this vision as a call from God, from the higher sources, to unite all those monks living one near each other here and there in the woods. That's how he created an order. This became a monastic order only established in Hungary. The only established order in Hungary is this one. He called this order Pauline order because he traced his tradition back to Saint Paul, the first hermit who lived in the Egyptian desert in the 3rd century. This hermit, Saint Paul, was the very first hermit in the Christian tradition. He decided to live according to the pattern and the lifestyle what Christ did in his retreat in the desert. So he established this order, and this monastery was built in the 15th century. And this very vision is depicted downstairs in the refectory. In one of the breaks, you will be able to watch this very piece of fresco downstairs. Very powerful. This fresco was made in the early 18th century, 1719. And this fresco depicts the very vision he had in that night in the 13th century. And this very vision is the vision that guides us, guided him, guides us, and guides several people around us today, guides us in this present and guides us hopefully in the future. What this vision is. This vision is about joining our efforts. It's about having all those people working separately from each other, here and there, differently and alone in their own souls. Having them coming together and work together, living in one open space. That's what he created. He created a monastery for those monks in the 13th century, and this is what we would like to create here too. Let me tell you some interesting stories related to this very vision, which is very powerful and very important. Mr. Gábor Kovács, who is the owner of this building currently, is one of the greatest philanthropists in Hungary. He's a banker originally. He was invited in 2002 to Aubusson, to France, by one of his friends, an artist, lady called Zsuzsa Pirelli, to watch her new exhibition there. So he went there, and there he saw one of Zsuzsa's recently newly made tapestries. She's a tapestry artist called Equilibrium. This tapestry showed, and shows today too, an angel balancing between earth and sky. So Gábor realized at that moment that there is another dimension in reality where you can find balance. Not just the horizontal dimension, but there is a vertical dimension too, where you can find balance. You need to look for balance in your life in this dimension too. Whether you call it religion, whether you call it spirituality, whether you call it meaning of life, either way you may call it, you need to look for a higher perspective that goes beyond the very moment you live in, that goes beyond the very physical body you live within. You need to look for the meaning of life. That's what he realized watching this very piece of art. He couldn't step away for an hour just watching this. And it changed his life. He decided to create a foundation for Hungarian contemporary art. That's what he did in 2004. And then he was called the day when he founded this foundation by a nun. And what he was called for. This nun called him to buy this monastery. Why would he buy that? He doesn't know where Sopronbánfalva is, what a monastery is, who the Carmelite nuns are, what this space is for. But he was called the very day when he opened KOGART, the art foundation. And he saw this as a sign, as a call for doing something good. So he said, yes, I'm going to buy this monastery. I'm going to help the order, because the order was in a very, very, very bad financial situation. They had a mortgage, having a due next week. So he bought it. And he came here and saw ruins. 3 months after he bought it, he was shocked. It was in such a bad condition. What did he do here? What would this place be good for? He didn't know. Started thinking, invited his friends who were together with him on this journey, and decided to create a place that has spirituality, has depth, has history, and has value in it, as it had value in the past. Of course, there were lots of joys and sorrows in this building, as you heard. The monks lived here in cells, alone, just with themselves. What would these monks do here? Pray and praise God, of course. What else? We people in the world from outside look at these types of building monasteries like the places where the body and the soul are kept within boundaries. So when we take these places away from the monks, like Joseph II did in the 18th century from the Pauline, or like Rákosi did that in 1950 in the communist regime, he took it away from the nuns. What would you do with a building like this? They would use it for prison of body, and they would use these types of building for prison of mind. So that's how this place became a mental institute. Isn't it interesting? To transform these places into prisons. So we decided to do something else, and please go on with the pictures, because you will see what it had been in the past and what it is now. Why this is important to show you the past and to show you the present. She is the artist, and this is the equilibrium, the very piece of art I mentioned. Why is it important? Because transformation is the very energy, is the very tool we can really live a meaningful life with. And here is a place that has really been transformed into something else. We are not talking about ideas, we are not talking about dreams only. that many people have, you all have, we all have, and that's very good, very fantastic. We need to have dreams. We are talking about dreams made real. Dreams that transform the past into the present and the present into the future. This very vision I mentioned to you will come back in one of these, as one of these photos. We'll tell you something else too, two other stories. This is the very place we are in now. And this is the refectory downstairs. These were the frescoes. So this lady had a vision too, and please stop here. She was the very artist who inspired Gábor Kovács to found KOGART, and that move to found KOGART led to buying this place. And one day she came, and she saw this very vision, where the little sparks of light come together to form one single beam of light. But she looked at something else in this fresco. She looked at the trees, the two trees, embracing each other, the force of good and bad, how they need each other, how they maybe work together or maybe are in conflict with each other, who knows, but they certainly condition each other. And then she created a piece of art, that over there. He's Gábor Kovács, who asked her to create a piece of art for us here. And the interesting story is that this very piece of art was made from the same threads that once back in time, in the 1940s and 50s, lived here in this building. Because those threads were the threads of the last prior of the monastery, and she was forced to leave this place, and then she lived in Sopron. And the lady who was her neighbor when she died took her belongings into her custody. And one day she heard an interview with the artist in a radio and said, "This lady is the one who needs to have these threads." So she went to her, not knowing her, she went to her and gave the threads to her. Those very threads that belonged to the last priority of this monastery went to the very artist who inspired the person who bought the place that once was the place of those Carmelite nuns. 3 people, or 4, are in this story together. It's not Marquez, it's reality. We are guided by this vision. So please move forward, and I'm going to tell you another vision, a third vision. I told a story about the first vision that Blessed Eusebius, the founder of the order. I told another story about the artist vision, and now I'm going to tell you a third story that actually came to me when I was here during the renovation. I came here asking what this place would be for. And one night, actually the very night when I left this place, last year in 2010, February, I had a dream in the morning, 5 o'clock. A half-conscious, very powerful dream, very intense dream in 2 minutes. A complete picture, complete structure, different elements. So please move forward with the pictures and I will tell you what the dream was. The dream was about a semi-desert. The semi-desert is our world, represents our world, where different little trees and plants try to survive, trying to do something good for others, not working for their own needs, not being only for their own purposes, but living for others, working for the common good, serving others. And then
Of course, we face a lot of problems in our world today. Environmental problems, environmental degradation, overpopulation, poverty, social tension in different parts of the world. And this is very important, hopelessness. Hopelessness of the young generation in many parts of the world. They are told today that they live in a world which is crude, that doesn't have a future, it's not gonna have survival. So they think what our life is for. If there is a world which is not going to have future, what is the purpose of our life? What are we going to do with this? You are the ones, you are the young ones who are here, asking the same questions every day, I'm sure. I'm asking them too. Do we really live in a world that is crude? In a sense, yes, but can we change it? We should. How? If we go forward, we see these youngsters joining into gangs, having revolts all over the place, and then wars, of course. We live in a very difficult world. What we should do? We should have science, business, education, politics, ancient wisdom to come together and join in one single platform to try creating a new world, trying to create a new and better future for us. Because this very young girl has a dream, as you all have a dream, to live in a better future. So we created a foundation in Geneva that has 3 major areas of work. One is to find all those role models in the world who work on this field of service, all those people, organizations, and entities, groups of people who work on a better future, and find them and create a common platform in the world to create an international organization that is not UNESCO, that is not UNICEF, that is not WWF, World Wildlife Fund, that is not Red Cross, because those are fantastic big international organizations working on separate fields. But there is no one organization working on the field of service, working on the field of helping others, and working on the field of we instead of I. That's what we are looking for. And the third area of activity is creating a communication platform, a technologically revolutionary communication platform that can connect all those people, individuals, organizations, and groups of people in the world to work together. So that this semi-desert can be transformed into a world where people look out of these windows to each other and see the world in a different angle. So that the vision, the original vision, where the little sparks of light came together and joined into one single beam of light, can shine the whole globe we live in. Do you say this is naive? Yes. This is very naive. Do you say this is a dream? Yes. This place was a dream too. A dream of a monk back in the 13th century, a dream of an artist, and a dream of a philanthropist. Can these dreams be realized? Yes, for sure.
Just need to work on nothing else required. If you move, this is the World Service Foundation, the board we have. Lady Montague of Bewley, one of the leading aristocratic families, Britain, Pierre Muller, the ex-mayor of Geneva, Gábor Kovács, the founder of KOGART and the owner of this building, the philanthropist Bankár in Hungary, and many, many, many others. We will have our launch event in Geneva next Monday, having Katalin Bogyai, the new president of UNESCO, coming and launching our foundation internationally. So I'm not talking about ideas and dreams only. I'm talking about how those dreams can be made real. And we had created a film called Revolution, Taking the Path of the World's Consciousness in the past year, which will be shown publicly next Monday in Geneva, and then hope it will be publicized internationally. This film is the change currently unfolding in the world, in our mentality, in our mind. It's amazing what's happening outside. This is one of the occasions that makes these changes.